Interesting topic today, the cure for decision fatigue. Decision fatigue was something, the term was not, did not come to me that easily. So I saw a quote by a friend of mine, and and I have decided these days, when I read something, when I watch a reels, I should act on it. I should do something about it. So the quote said, people are not calmer just because they have a strong willpower, but they are calmer because they have decided it. They have decided and they execute it. So there is not a question that we repeat, revisit every single time. Like every morning for women, what is the breakfast for today? Then I saw a reel also by a man who was like, do you know the tension that a woman goes through when she has to decide on the breakfast every morning? She has to look at the older in-laws, maybe husband, what they like, they don't like, and children, and she has to decide. So at least be thankful to her. I was like, oh yeah, nice, somebody is recognizing my problem. But then I see this one, I'm like, why do I have to decide every single morning? Why can't I have that rhythm? Mondays are this and Tuesdays are that. That's what Steiner keeps talking about. That's what we have been talking about. Having a rhythm, a daily rhythm, a weekly rhythm, something that my daily chores are taken care of. I do not have to spend my energy on something that routinely repeats. I have decided that I have to wake up and go for a walk. But then the morning comes, I snooze the alarm and I say, should I? It's cloudy outside, it's rainy outside, I don't feel like it. All these negotiations that I make with myself, I expend my mental energy. That is where, when we talk about consistency, it is coming from a decision I've made, not from the willpower. And it works beautifully. The minute I said I've decided to wake up by 6 and be out for a walk for 30 minutes, finish the walk before 7. So I've set myself 30 minutes and I said I have to wake up by 6 and I need to finish my walk by 7. Decision is made, no questions about it. Unless I am dying. If I'm on the hospital bed and I say, oh, I have to go for a walk. Walking probably will not even cross your mind. Only when I decide and it keeps crossing my mind and I do not do it, redeciding, renegotiating is creating that leak in my emotional strength. It creates a subtle anxiety. There is a self doubt. I decide, but I never do. I don't know what I will do. I don't want to commit. I don't want to take responsibility. There's kind of a mental friction within myself with people. So somewhere I keep renegotiating. So instead of saying, should I do this today? If I change that question, this is what I do. Simple words. This is what I do. And there's no question about it. And people will also begin to respect that. People will not play around. We blame people. It's actually we allow people to play around with us. So something like the question, should I exercise today? It's like a weak decision. I will exercise, generic statement. Instead, if I say I exercise on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays before breakfast. So somewhere I will not have my breakfast until I have, at least gone for that walk or do few sit-ups in the house. So that language has a lot of weight. What we tell ourselves, what we tell children, or see, we also have this concept that we revolve around children imitate us. whatever we do is what children uh, do it. They learn it from us. So the language I use becomes their language when they grow up. A simple test for this would be, go back and look at your own actions, your own words. Are you imitating your mother some way, your father some way, your elder influential somebody some way, grandparents, maybe a teacher in the school, maybe your boss that you have been working with? Maybe I don't say that to my boss, but I come back and do it on my children or somebody else. So we need to understand that I need to decide, and when I'm calm, I'm not deciding now that I'm, let's say we decide to go for a movie and they are not ready yet and we cannot get out in time, and I'm paranoid being late to the movie and we are scrambling, we are shouting, the whole experience is kind of why should we even come to a movie when people can't get ready and come? So instead of that, when we are calm, we say, you know what, we have to be at the theater. Movie begins at 6:30. We have to be at the gate by 6:20 because I get anxious and I want this full experience of watching the very first scene, and I do not want to hear anything about it. Are you game? If not, maybe I can go by myself. You come later, 15 minutes late, because you're okay with it. Or we negotiate, this movie we go according to my way, next movie we can go 15 minutes late. So I'm not holding on to only my way, sort of a thing. So decide when you are calm, when you are in the space, and question yourself, since the last decision I've made, has anything changed? Like when we were calm, we decided we need to go to the movie 15 minutes earlier, and this is my turn this time, so we will be 15 minutes earlier. But then something comes up, you don't have gas in your car, somebody shows up at the door, you cannot be fretting and fuming. So at that moment, you can be a little, you can negotiate a little bit. It's a temporary emotion, it will pass, but then you are not fighting over it, renegotiating over itself. Somewhere we also probably want to be this perfect person, certainty. So that renegotiating, rethinking is about comparing different options, seeking reassurance, delaying the action, endlessly searching and researching and making sure no mistakes are made. But in that process, I've already exhausted. Especially when we are doing it as parents, in that renegotiation process, we have lost being with the child in their childhood. We have lost those very, very important years where we could have been influential in a constructive way. I'm not saying good or bad here, because I don't know, my good may not be the good for the child or in the current time. But as long as I am growing and the child is growing, we should be okay. Overall, we have 70-80% of the information. We decide based on that, and then we stick to that with that 20% flexibility in case something should come up. In case. If it does not, then it's okay. Understanding also some decisions may be reversible. We say that everyone has to eat certain thing on Sunday, right? But then that Sunday happens to be a festival, and we will change it. It's not like it is. So you bring in the negotiations in the clause, most of the Sundays is our eat out days, but in case there is a festival, we cook together at home. In case there are guests who come, we take them out with us, but then if they do not want to go, we need to respect that. We entertain the guests, so we adjust that, and maybe we go out to eat to compensate for that Sunday, maybe on a Tuesday or something. So building those clauses in Not too many, not like those government documentations, but understanding that, we can work it out. It is not that we have decided and that is it. That's very rigid. But for routine things, definitely for myself, I can have that decision and then I don't have to endlessly go back and keep checking if that is what I want to do. That is going to save my energy. That is going to make me consistent. That is going to make me dependable and reliable. Otherwise, children look up at you, yeah, she says that she'll take us out, but really not. You know, children, when they understand, they start playing around with us. So, and it's not their fault. So some things, it's just not motivation. Motivation is there, but the structures help us create that consistency. Marking your calendars, marking, if you don't remember, put that as a reminder. And anything else like clutter, declutter it. Declutter your table, declutter your phone, declutter your surroundings. Even like kitchen, we don't have to have so many things. Having a rhythm, all of these are going to help us, but keeping in mind that what am I deciding that is good for me, that is good for people around me, and that's also good for the society in a bigger picture. We always talk about fourfoldedness. It's just not me alone. When I do it for me alone, then I'm selfish. I said I have to wake up at 4 o'clock every day, so I put this big blaring alarm that wakes everybody up. That's not a healthy decision. So I need to look at people around. If I have to wake up at 4, if I have to have the alarm on, then I'll say, okay, I'll go sleep elsewhere that doesn't disturb anybody. So it's me and also my family around me. Then I'm not walking around in the house, turning all the lights on and going to the bathrooms and making all the sounds of the mornings. No. Okay. So that is where I become a figure where people start looking up to us. That is the environment that I build around myself, where this decision making is not a chore, is not creating fatigue in me, but it is doing some things on schedules. That's what, athletes, you see, they're so disciplined. It's not that they are motivated to come and work out 12 hours a day. It's not easy. But then they have decided, I need to win that medal this time. And there are routines everywhere. You go to any temple, you go to any institution, there are decisions made, and we just need to follow it. And we need to keep repeating. Children thrive on repetition. In fact, even we thrive on repetition because some mundane things are just taken care of. You don't have to worry. And like repetition is like weekly rhythm. Mondays are poha, Tuesdays are dosa, Wednesdays are bread sandwich. Just decide it. And not in a rush, but in a calm environment. And then you have time for creativity or hobby. You can be present, completely present. It's a different feeling when you're truly present. And that is when we become influential. That is when children look up to us. So try it out, decide on something small. Maybe understand the decisions could be reversible. They can be modified a little bit until you get a hang of it, and experiment. It's really, really wonderful. Good luck and thank you.